when people freak out about the Math Excel, like making the password super challenging to remember, stop for a minute and imagine what are the negative, or we'll put it this way, what are the consequences if someone were to break in your Math Excel account? Are they going to change the course of an election? Are they going to go through and change the balance on your bank account? Are they going to go through and sign over your home to someone else? What's going to happen if they get your password? They can get all of your math homework. I would leave it on a business card and hand it to people if I were you. Like, you don't want it to be something challenging. Second thing, write down what your username or password are in your phone as a contact. So take, if you've got your phone out, great, go in. Make a contact that has that info in it. Because it does need to get done. The parts that are common, reoccurring issues that we have, essentially, there's only one. And that one problem that we keep getting over and over again is people go, I lost my password and, oh, hang on, we got to remember to get time. Let's see. Stay, when, is this it? And, join here. So, your job, I'll say this, let's just get it done for next time that we meet. If we have time, I'll even say this, you don't even need to, oh, there's Tommy. All right, now, join with computer audio, no, oh, actually, yes, because I won't do the other one then. So, maybe he can hear me now. Okay, wait, I have this on mute. I have mute my audio and share the screen. Poor Tommy. All right, okay, so we're here. Tommy, can you hear us? Are you there? Oh, wait, I'm still on mute. Tommy, can you hear us? I think so. Sure. Why not? Oh, okay, he says yes. Somehow there's a speaker. I'm not sure. I'm screwing it up somehow, I'm sure. But in any event, get yourself signed up for your Math Excel. It is posted for you guys, so you can get those instructions anytime. We'll sort of leave, no offense, the busy work for you. Wait, is it? Oh, drag this down. There was a mild, by the way, victory yesterday. Can we move this down? There we go. Okay, hide that. Yeah. We were finally able to get it so the smartboard, you can actually write on it. So maybe that's bad news for you, but I'll be able to do more examples faster than the other stuff. Blah, blah, blah. So, one thing to get done, your Math Excel, get it set up, join the course. The assignment, I don't even know if I assigned it proper yet, but try that code, see if you can go through, get yourself signed up. Is there questions on that? Okay. Do me a favor, set those down to the side. We'll keep track of the stuff we're going to go through and do for today. But first thing, if you want to make sure you get it down, make sure you set up your Math Excel account tonight. That's one for homework. And it depends sort of on how much we get done. Oh, by the way, also make sure, if we haven't, that you set up your, or sign in, excuse me, to your calculators. I think we should have, yeah, about half of you have. When you come in every day, we do need you to go through and do that. So get signed in if you're not already. The other things that we need you guys to do, and actually we'll handle this part maybe in the beginning. We're going to try to make something for you this year that will be a little bit helpful. I did them before in the past, but normally towards the end of the year. And when I was thinking about it, it kind of makes sense to keep this around or make something like this throughout the year. I actually think it'd be most beneficial for you to do that way. We're going to go through and in a minute, you're going to slide up one row at a time. You're going to come up and pick up 5 pieces of paper. And they're just going to be 5 pieces of newspaper. You're going to then line them up, and we'll show you how you can sort of make it into something that we can fold over. And from there, we'll staple it together. The goal for us, we have pretty much 10 big units, 8 really, but the AP throws some sort of rogue extra stuff on there and weird formulas to remember. So you're going to have probably 10 tabs on this, and your job is going to be, as we're doing it, keep track of what we're doing. Anything that's important to remember, you're going to go through and use. And a lot of people start saying, well, this would be so much easier if I had like a cheat sheet. Well, this is your cheat sheet. And one of the things that I think, well, I don't know if it's super concerning, but a little alarming was maybe we knew, but there weren't a ton of us that had a solid idea as to what we're talking about if something has a derivative value of, let's say, 5 versus something that has a derivative value of 10. Can anybody tell me what the difference would be, or I guess what you know if one function's derivative is 5 and another's is 10? What do you know, I guess, about those functions? What conclusions could you reach, or what do those numbers mean even? Having a derivative of 5 and a derivative of 10. You got one? Take a look. When you came in, you picked up a sheet on here that was, I think, trig review and some basic algebra stuff, and then we also have some calculator questions. Look at the top right. Right underneath the name part, you can see there's a little graph on there that shows you a bunch of different curves. That's what the derivative is. The derivative is your instantaneous rate of change. And I don't care if we've got, don't tell me all these like quirky little rules. And if I ask for the definition, I don't want to hear, it's the power rule, you multiply this or divide this. There's chain rule. I don't know if they talked about chain rule last year. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. But you've got to know when we're talking about the derivative, it's a rate of change. If you're investing, let's say you invest in what kind of phone is that? Apple phone? Okay. You're investing in Apple stock. Do you care what? Let's say you took and you graphed out its price. If you own Apple stock, do you want the price graph of Apple stock to be to have a positive derivative or a negative one? Which one would you want? You own Apple stock. You want it to have a positive derivative or a negative one? Hands up, please, if you can tell me why positive, and then the other end of it, why not negative? We got one who can tell us. These are the connections you've got to make if you're going to be successful in the AP piece of it. Because you've got to not only do the calc, but understand, pardon the language, why the hell you're doing the calc. If the derivative is, why do you want your Apple stock to have a positive derivative value as opposed to a negative one?
Because that means it's continuously increasing.
You know the values are increasing. The rate that the stock is growing at is positive. Why is it kind of dangerous to be investing in a stock that has a negative derivative value? Hands up, please, if you can tell me that. Why would it probably be slightly dangerous to invest in a stock that has a negative derivative value? We got two people. Yeah. You guys are going off to college next year. I had a kid 2 years ago who had his own business and was able to understand the calc just from business. He was a horrible Algebra 2 student. I had him in Algebra 2 also. When it mattered to him, when it comes down to something you're interested in, you'll pick it up pretty quick. Why do you want, or why would you be scared of a negative derivative value if you're buying Apple stock? You want to say? Value of the stock is decreasing. And you've got to recognize there's even a thing, unfortunately time goes on and my references get older, but in 2008 there was a stock market collapse. Raise your hand. You were probably, how old were you people in 2008? 4? 7? Great. So obviously the example has aged a little bit. But in 2008 there was a stock market crash. And the reason that there was a stock market crash was companies like Lehman Brothers, by the way, former students from Webster Schrader, had very strong roles in the, well, at least I can point to at least two, who had summer internships at financial houses like Goldman Sachs and others. They bet on these financial products they sold to people called derivatives, where you weren't betting on what the value of something was, you're betting on what it's going to do in the future. So if you were going to pick a company that you think is going to be bigger now, bigger in the future than it is now? Who can tell me, think in your brain, the answer is probably different for each of you. Who can think of a company that you say, in 5 years, this company is probably going to be bigger than it is now? Hands up, please, if you can tell me. I can think of about 20 off the top of my head. This is real life. We're not actually going to look up stock values. What do you want to say? Amazon? Sure. What else do we got? Holy cow. If you can't think of a company that's going to be bigger in 5 years, I don't know what planet you're living on. Yeah. Sure. Google. What are other ones that you go through and see? Apple. Now, what's the danger, though, with all of those companies? Because there's a problem with every company you guys gave me. Kind of. They're big now. It's tough to envision Apple getting bigger. It's a $1 trillion company. It's literally the biggest company in the world now. Could it get bigger in the future? Absolutely. Because, by the way, think about it this way. Imagine, do you guys remember Mozilla Firefox? Mozilla almost doesn't exist anymore. Microsoft Explorer was the prominent internet browser. And in 2008, everyone would go, it's going to be that way forever. Except what happened? Something better came along. Google came out with Chrome. And within 2 years, Microsoft, that everyone thought was going to be profitable forever, no longer is. Why? What's happening to its market share, to its users? Decreasing. By the way, hands up, well, this isn't a judgment call. I don't care what kind of phone you have. Hands up, please, right now if you have an iPhone, or we'll put it this way. Hands up right now if you have an Apple phone. Just hands, okay. Now, here's one of our problems. If I'm Apple, why am I incredibly scared right now? Do this again. How many of us have an iPhone? Why are you incredibly, if I'm Tim Cook, I better hope and pray that those earbuds take off, that iPhone XS takes off, that all that happens. Why? Why would you be nervous? Yeah. There you go. If I'm Apple, is it tough for me to find new customers? So I come out with a new phone, iPhone XS, or 10S, whatever they call it. By the way, if that doesn't do good, if I'm not giving you features that are enough to get you to go buy a new phone, does our business grow? Do I make money? Does my company make money? Does my stock make money? Do I keep my job? Figured it out. I still remember, and this, well, is a little bit irritating. I still remember when I was in college in '02, my uncle Lou, who owned some property in Webster, was a pretty somewhat wealthy guy at the time. We went out to dinner at Hedges because my parents were in town. And when we were out to dinner, he goes, Jimmy, I got a question for you. And keep in mind, my Uncle Lou is probably one of the nicest guys on the face of the earth. And God love him, but he's about this tall, okay? And he looks, I don't know, like a little Buddha, okay? And he's taking the whole family out to dinner. And he's got some bucks, so everybody's always, this is weird, etc. So during dinner, it's awkward for him to like leave people and come up and go, I got a question for you. Anyway, thank God he's still alive, but 2.5 pack a day smoker. Not a good habit to take up. And he goes, Jimmy, I got a question. See all these kids? They have these white headphones. Who makes the white headphones? What are you talking about? All these kids, I was over at U Bar. And we were over on Park Ave, having lunch at Frogtown. All these kids have these white headphones. Where the hell are they getting? Who makes them? I go, I'm thinking back, I'm like, got it. They're on an iPod. What's that? It's like a CD player, but you don't have a CD. I'm like, I actually had one. I had a Nike one at the time because they had just come out. I was like, they're great if you ever work out or you go running or something like that, because if you go running and you had a Discman, raise your hand if you've ever seen a Discman. Okay. So has anyone ever used a Discman, by the way? Okay, you're lucky. I used to have to go running, and when you went running, you were holding your disc like this, but then it got worse, because what happens when you run? You move up and down. Is that good for a CD player? No, so then you get like anti-skip protection. But you'd actually have to pick the places you land. So you'd be like holding this, and I remember running down Dewey Ave, and I felt like I was awake. Because you're holding this, God forbid, you know, the NSYNC CD skipped or something like that, and my whole run would be ruined. And he goes, so the new ones don't skip? I go, nope. You put it right in the computer, put the CD in, it copies it over. It's easy. He goes, how many of the kids have it? A lot of them. He goes, it's noticeable though, right? You can see the kids that have it. I go, yeah. He goes, well, I'm not saying you're a loser. But do the kids that have them, are they like the popular kids, or are they the losers? I don't really know. I just know that there's a lot. Okay. Now, Uncle Lou went out and bought $10,000 worth of Apple stock that day. He said, you know what? This company's probably going to sell more. And are they going to probably make a lot of money? Yeah, and when they make a lot of money, if I buy the stock when it's cheap, and the derivative value of the function in the future I'm predicting is going to be positive, meaning long-term growth, sales growth, stock market growth, and there's a lot of room for improvement. So we put $10,000. The problem was, at least for me, stock was at about $1.32 at that point. Steve Jobs had just come back. This was viewed as a catastrophic failure, but he stuck with it. And he noticed the sales numbers kept growing up. And if sales numbers go up, if sales go up, what happens to your company's value? It goes up. And in most cases, as your company gets bigger, what happens to the amount of money you make? It goes up. So not only do you own something that's worth more money, but it also pays you more money in a dividend. Now the problem was he bought it at $1.23. He took our family out to hedges again because he sold his $10,000 investment at $1.23 a share after it had gone up. Well, I'll even tell you this. Take out your phones. While we're waiting, take out your phones and go in right now and just type into Google. Let's see what we get when we type in Amazon. What one are we doing? Apple. Price history. Boom. So now, as you can see, today it's pretty profitable. Go out to where it says max. Right in this area over here, 1991. You can see, by the way, Apple was not that big of a company until recently. This was in 02, so he's about $1, 03, $1.37 a share. Now, here's the kicker. What was it worth per share when he sold it? Not in 2018. He did it right after the stock split, so it'll be about $100. No, 2016, where are we at? Yeah, so right about in this area here is when he sold it. So did he make a lot of money? Yeah, a ton, because remember, each of those shares that he got, that he sold for $100+, he bought for $1 and change. And by the way, the next thing you got to remember that isn't up there, Apple stock split at one point, 7-to-1, which meant if you own one share, you trade that one share in, and we're going to give you 7 of the new ones. So that amount of money that you're thinking that he made 7 times that. Still think calculus isn't important? I'll tell you right now, if you get this, those are the people that get Goldman Sachs summer internships. If you can find a way to marry econ or Calc in business, some interest that you have, stocks like this, you can make more money than you know what to do with. And by the way, people who come in, and let's just, not to belittle, people who work like an actual job, you pay tax at about a 35% rate. If you just play the stock market and make money, you know what percent income tax you have to pay on it? 15. So if you worked at McDonald's, what percentage of your income do you put into taxes about? 35%. If you sat at home all day, watching Judge Judy and clicking sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, what would your income tax rate be? 15%. So do you have to work as hard? By the way, sitting at home clicking things, working as hard? So there's a lot that this goes through and impacts. We're going to have you make your foldable, and you're going to hopefully, first thing I want us to definitely be able to get though, remember derivative is instantaneous rate of change. Average rate of change is different. Look at that picture in the top left. Does it show up or no? Did it not? Oh, I thought I had a graph with it on. I'm sure, where was it? Must be up on the other. Oh, I guess it didn't copy over. My apologies, I thought it did. Let's do this. You're going to slide over. We'll call you up by rows. You're going to come over here. And some of you that have had me before, maybe you have some prior experience. You're going to grab one of each color. So you're going to have 5 total. And once you get your 5 pieces of paper, we're going to stagger them. So when we say stagger, that means like this. You're going to make a little thing to the side, just enough so there's a tab that you can write on and read. Now, this is a part where, you've heard the joke before, don't ruin it for other people. How many pieces of paper do I have right now in front of me? 5. There's no strings here, is that correct? How many again? 5. How many pieces of paper do you see right now? 5, right? Now ready? How many now does it look like I have? But how many did I start with? Now, 10 now. 5, 4. So you fold it over so that you've got these 5 here. We're going to keep this. My hope is that we can literally use this all year. So when it comes time for the AP, we don't have to make one. You will have made it and be using it the whole year. If there's stuff that we need to go through and keep track of, we're going to put a name down here. You can write up top and here. There's all this space. Put everything that you need to know on it. And it's for you. I'm going to tell you, I put some certain things down in there. Like for the first one, I'd make sure I had instant rate of change formula, rate of change formula. But I mean, we should be good. All right? We have questions on how to make this. Now, the second step is, once you're done, you're going to bring it over to myself. I'll be over on the corner there. We have a stapler, but it's maybe not legal, especially in school situations, because it's so powerful. None of you ever had to put out protection. What I'm going to ask you to do, you just bring it over, so I'll staple it, and then you can head back to your seat. Okay? How long do you think that this should take us? 3 to 5 minutes, maybe? Okay? And then, by the way, see how there's 5 stacks of paper there? So when you go over there, should it look like somebody picked you up and body slammed you on the table, and then took the table and started throwing the paper at you? Is that how I want it to look? Okay? Now, if you see someone struggling, by the way, don't be a jerk. Help them. It takes perhaps 3 seconds. And you have the opportunity to bond and criticize me for that. So, let's do this. Let's have first 2 rows slide over. You can grab yours. Sure, it's unstapled. We still have to do the stapling. So first 2 rows slide over. It's pretty heavy duty. Don't look directly at it. I think it's illegal. Someone last year stapled their eyes shut. Well, it would be if it wasn't just firing into the paper. Done? There we go. Okay, 3 and 4, come on over, grab your papers, push each other around and into those so it gets nice and messy on the side. Now, what's this thing? Oh. Am I muted? How do I? What's this here? Meeting? How do I, wait, full screen? No, half screen. Where's the stupid thing to, ugh. Oh, the stapler. I don't want anybody getting killed. Very good folder. That's rather impressive. Not bad. It works. Thank you. Help each other out. Come on, bring it over when you're done. The narrower you can make those sort of tabs, and I'm not saying make it ridiculously small, but you gain a lot more space going through and doing it like that. Good. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Now, a little bit narrower here. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the tabs, just because this one, you're not going to have so much space to write on it. Okay? Thank you. Guys, if you see and can help each other out, it makes the whole thing go quick. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. Thank you. Yep. Thank you. All right, so.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Now, if you want, I advise you to just make it on just this is too small to get that much on. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want you to miss out. Like, if you do a little bit tighter, you get that much more space. You know what I mean? I would just do a different one and just make them a little bit narrower the first time down here. You know what I mean? Like, make it like that wide instead. A little bit. Can you help her out?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You can just grab a new one. That's probably going to be easier because that fold, that crease that's in there, it's going to make it so it's tough to readjust. Thank you. Yep. Thank you. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Better? There you go. See, now you got some real estate up there to work with. All right? Yep. Any more? Got it? Good. Now, that is, we got more? I think we got at least one more coming. But what I'll ask you to do, table that for now and set that over to the side. Here's our stuff for today. So we're going to go through now, and where did we leave off? We're talking today about limits and rates of change. But our first thing, I guess, that I'd need us, and this is out of your great big note packet, so make sure you're out page 4. When we're talking about limits, understand that as limits, part of our goal, or one of the things that we need to make sure we understand, limits are actually not a direct evaluation, but rather an approximation of, or an exact value of, what you're expecting the function to be. And a sort of analogy that I like to use, just if you're struggling to see it, it's almost like you're a detective and you're working a case. Except you don't care what the conviction is, you just need to find someone to arrest. As we're going through, here's our graph. The limit is, and by the way, did they talk about one-sided limits last year or no? Okay, so a limit is what you're estimating or expecting the value to be as you approach some number from a side. Now, as I'm looking at this, here's my function. I'm going to try to estimate out what f of 2 is. So I'm going to look at that graph. Now, is f, oh, sorry. Can we evaluate out what f of 2 is? No. Does that matter? No. The function doesn't have to exist for the limit to exist. Now, let's say I'm going to approach this and try to take the limit of this function, the limit of f of x, as x approaches 2 from the left side. Look at that graph, go to the left of 2, and now start approaching 2. So as I go to the left and I start approaching, what does it look like the function value would be? Hands up, please, if you can tell me. What does it look like that function value is going to be? We've got one person who can tell us. Take a look at that chart. What does it look like that would work out to be? What would we estimate it to be? Yep. 12? Sure. Now, let's take it from the other side. Let's take the limit as x approaches 2 from the positive side of our function. What does that equal? That means as I swarm in from this side, who does it look like my suspect is? What does it look like my value's going to be? 12. Does the left-hand limit equal the right-hand limit? So what is the limit's value? 12. Does it matter that the function doesn't exist there? No. If the function doesn't exist, all we know is it's not continuous. Is that function continuous? No. What is our one-sided limits leading us to believe it is? Looks like it's going to be a 12 here. Does it matter that there's not a 12 there? There's no function value there. Does that matter? The answer is no. Not even close. What matters is what it looks like it's going to be. So as I come in from both sides, is it telling me the same suspect, the same value? That's what limits do. Now, there's ways to do it using a table, and then there's ways to go through and do it out algebraically. Using a table, please understand, this is one of the things that gets a little frustrating. You're trying to, now according to this, it says, we'll read this up. Suppose you were to graph this out for all the values not equal to 2, you can use a standard curve sketching to go through and evaluate it out. Why can't we plug a 2 in and get an output, though, in our f of x? Hands up, please, if you can tell me why. Why can I not directly plug in a 2 and get an output for this f of x? Look at the f of x. Why is it awkward to get a value at 2 by plugging that in? What do you want to say? There you go. Our expression is not defined there. You're dividing by 0. Now, when you're doing this, if I'm trying to find the value at 2, there are some people who think, oh, I'm going to look at the table and say, all right, well, there's -1 gives me some value. I like how I put -0. What did I do? -1, you've got 0, and then you've got 1. You're going to have some value there, and there. And then this would be like 3, 4, and 5. People think that that's the way to use a table to approximate a limit. What's the problem with that? It's not specific and it's not really close. Like if I wanted to really get a good read as to what this is, instead of going from 5 to 4 to 3, I probably want to go from something like, maybe even this. What if I did 2.2? What's something closer to 2 than 2.2? Sure, I'd say how about that's 2.2. I'd say how about 2.1? 2.15. Is that closer and going to give me a better approximation than this side will? Yeah. How could I make this even better? Well, what if I did this? I don't know. What if I made this 2.1, 2.01, 2.001? See how we're really converging on that 2 now? You're right next to it and getting closer. Much more so than the left. Look at that left side. Is that really zooming in on it? No. And again, think of it like if it's a police investigation or something. As you're looking at it, this would be sort of, I don't know if this is a suspect. If you're picking these values, you're really on a suspect. You're fixated on it. You're going, I think it's going to be there, and I'm getting really close to it. Not incrementally closer, but shockingly close to it. 1,000th away. Because by the way, if I plug in 2.001, it'll give you a value. The only value that causes our function to break down is n, 2. Now, in most cases, if the function is continuous, we can go through and use direct substitution. You can also use a table. If the function isn't defined there, we might also need algebraic manipulations. Read that sentence that's there and fill this in right now. What would we say for that first question, please? It should be obvious that as x gets closer to 2, the value of f of x becomes close to what? Hands up, please, for that one. Okay. 12. So, mathematically, we'd say that the limit of the function, in this case f of x, as x approaches 2, is 12, or the limit equals 12. By the way, notice, see how it says the limit as x approaches 2? How was our example up here? What did I throw up here? That sounded wrong. What did I write up there that made that different than what you have listed down below? How is this notation different than the one you just filled in? Hands up if you can see how that notation is different than what you did before. You got 1, 2, 3 of us? 4. How is this notation different than what you did prior? 3 of us can make that connection. One of these is not like the other. Fingers? This shows from the left and the right. By the way, if these numbers don't match, does the limit exist? The one-sided limit does, but the limit itself doesn't. If it doesn't have a plus or minus next to it, it's looking at it from both sides, so make sure that they converge. I'm trying to think of what else we would need. Yeah, it does not, just because it's possible for the function value at some input to be different than the limit evaluation at that point. And that happens when the functions aren't continuous. Here's an example of it. So let's say here's my xy axes. Here's my, actually I'll do the graph in blue. So here's my graph, right? And say we'll do something like this. The limit from this side and this side are approaching that value. So that's what the limit is. But what would the function value here be? Let's say this is 2. What would the function value be? 5. Did you just give me a function that had a different limit value than it would by a direct substitution? Yes or no? When that happens, you just made a graph. What type of function is that? Well, is that graph continuous? Is that graph continuous? No. There's a jump in it. There is a discontinuity here. It's defined for all values of x, but it's not continuous. So we're clear. Continuous means without interruption. Does this graph have an interruption in it? A blip? Yeah. Now, let's see what else we can go through and get done. Yeah, direct sub, use a table, or algebraic manipulation. Take a look at example 1. What's the easiest way to give out that limit? Hands up, please, if you can tell me. Look at example 1. How could I evaluate out? The limit as x approaches 2 of 3x plus 5. How could I evaluate it out? There's 3 techniques up above, but boy, one of them is kind of hopefully the easiest of all. How could I evaluate out this limit? We got 1, 2, 3 of us. What do you want to say? Is that, think about the function that you're graphing. Hands up when you can tell me what type of function is that going to be. 1 person 2. These words should be linked. If we don't know, we'll get you there. Look at 3x plus 5. What type of function is that? Caleb? Linear. Are linear functions continuous? Yes. So this is continuous. That's why direct substitution works. So go over to the side. The limit as x approaches 2 of, what was it, 3x plus 5? we can do that by direct substitution. So I'd say the limit is x up, and yes, you need the limit part in front. 3 times 2 plus 5. What's 3 times 2? They get tougher. That's 6. Good. Plus 5 is going to be? So what's the what's the limit value going to be? If you don't put the limit as x approaches 2 in front at each step, you will not receive credit. That's the AP's rule. If that limit part is not there, you don't get credit. So as you're doing it, even with direct sub, but the limit as x approaches outside. Questions on that? All right. Now, this one up is going to be a little bit awkward. By the way, I don't know why. For some reason, this isn't mini on your notes, is it? Or is it? Sorry. Okay. So somehow it got screwed up. I know I can't do 2 by direct sub. Hands up, please, if you can tell me why you know you can't do 2 by direct substitution. We've got 1 person. 2, 3 of us, 4. Why can't I do it? Yeah, so we can't do this by direct sub, except I'm not going to need to use the graph. Graph, in all honesty, is the last resort. So get over using the graph as step 1. What should we see, or at least I got my fingers crossed? How can I make this nice? How can I make this direct sub appropriate? We got 1, 2 of us. I hope we see it, because I think you saw it back when you had algebra 1. Hopefully algebra 2. What do you want to say? Factor, when you say that, what's the x squared minus 9 going to break down into? What 2 factors? Why was that good for you to write it out as quantity x plus 3 and then the quantity x, sorry, that looks like another plus, x minus 3. Why was that good to do? Now, you're going to say, I'm a jerk for correcting this. I'm the only one I think that does it. Please don't say cancel. What do we say in lieu of cancel? Reduce. Because what's x plus 3 over x plus 3? 1. So now I'm left with the limit as x approaches -3 of x minus 3. Can I do that by direct sub? Hands up when you can tell me what that limit value is going to be. Hands up when you can tell me that limit value. 1, 2 of us. Not bad. The questions do get tougher. We're asking you to plug in a -3 to evaluate out the limit now by direct sub. What do we got? 4. What? Thank you. Now, can I plug in a 0? Is this direct sub? We got no? Who can tell me why it's a no? You said no. What's your reason? It's not that type. It's easy no. Yeah. The denominator is 0. So is direct sub going to work? No. Algebraic manipulation, you've got a tangent of x over an x. There's no way that that's going to reduce out. So what's our last option? Graph it. So do me a favor. Well, here's our graph. On here, you'd see there's a hole in the graph. Look at the table. Look at the table. See how we're approaching 0 from both sides? What's the table indicating that that limit value would be? Hands up when you can tell me, because approaching from the left and the right seems to yield the same value. I've got 1, 2 of us who can tell me, what does it look like this is going to be? It's not what it actually is because it doesn't exist there. It's what it looks like it is. 4 of us, 5? Nope. It's going to be undefined by direct sub. Look at the table, though, to see what our limit value would be. What would you like to say? 1. There'd be a hole in the graph there. You'd see it if you graphed it out. So, do we have questions on that? All right. Now, these are rules that we need to... So, I don't know if we're going to have enough time to get through this in and of itself. As we... Yes? So the work would be sketching a graph with like the hole shown in the graph and then 2 arrows coming to the side. Yeah, but and please be clear, this is one thing that also comes up. I don't know what happened like when you guys got introduced to grading, but to sketching. I think that they just said, if it makes you feel good, it's okay. That's not like, you gotta like, if you're giving out a sketch, you get look like the graphs. Like, I'm not asking for it to be like a copy of your screen, but it should look shockingly close to that. Like, I've had people before when it's like, draw this graph. So like this, that's my sketch. I'd be more, I'd find out who sat behind you and why were they punching you in the back while you were trying to do math notes. That's my question, okay? Now, what I'm going to ask us to do, I guess in the beginning we'll get this piece here done. The limit as you approach any value of a constant when you graph it out, think about what that's going to be. The limit as x approaches 0 of 3. That means that you're going to go through and graph out a 3. You don't need to actually graph out a 3. Just think of what the 3 would look like if you graphed it out. Y equals 3. Flat line going across a 3, right? What's the limit value as x approaches 1 of that function? 3. What is it as it approaches 2? What's the function value going to be? 3. What about as you approach a billion? 3. What's the value always going to be if you've got a constant in the input? 3. It's whatever that is. There's no x, so it never varies. Now the next one's a little bit more interesting. The limit as x approaches some value of x will be there. Think about the line y equals x. Remember, this is y equals 3, right? Is this line here? What does y equals x look like? Your diagonal. What would the slope be? Sorry, what's the function value of y equals x as x approaches 2? Hands up, please, if you think you can tell me what the function value, the limit value would be as x approaches 2 of x. 1, 2. What do we think? Yeah. 2. And what would it be as you approach 3? What's the function value going to be if you graph out the diagonal line? What's the function value going to be as you approach 3? What do we want to estimate? What would it be as you approach 20? 20. What would it be as you approach a billion? So what's this one here going to be? Hands up when you can answer that question. Look what's there. We got 1, 2, 3 of us. 8. It's going to be whatever that function value is. Now here's the other one that we need you to go through and know. This comes out to be k times the limit as x approaches 0 of the sine of x over x. All I'm doing, by the way, is factoring out the k, the multiplier that's in front. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Well, no, I meant what an idiot I am. You can yell at me right now for this. Why? This was so stupid. What a dummy. Look at as I did that out. What did I take out in the numerator and the denominator? What did I factor out from both the angle and the denominator? Okay, what's k divided by k? So guess what I put it as? K. What is this going to equal? Take a look at the graph. Who can give me an estimate of what the sine of x over x would be? What's that limit going to be? Hands up, please, when you can tell me. We got one person. All right. What does it look like it's going to be? Two of us? Come on. What do you want to say? Perfect. Look at the graph. As I approach 0 from here and here, what's it look like that function value is going to be? 1. By the way, what happens when you plug in a 0? What do we get? Undefined. You can't do it by direct sub. Now, I'll even tell you this. Go in, please, and do me a favor. Actually, well, go over to your foldable. Open that guy up. And on the inside, here's what I need you to get down. Copy these. I'd make this maybe our first tab on the inside part. The small ones, sorry. The big ones we'll try to save for our huge units, particularly stuff at the end of the year. I'd make sure I sort of had these limit formulas down. So the sum, if you've got two independent functions in there, etc., you can just put a star next to it because that'll be the second thing you've got for homework. So Math Excel, sign up. We've got copy these to your foldable. Copy your limit rules. And there's one last thing we're going to have you do. I don't know if, I think I might have had you pick up, well, you picked something up when you came in, for sure. Well, I don't know where. Oh, here it is, here it is. So, what you're going to do for homework tonight, your last thing, coming down your row now, I'm going to post the answers to this, which are already posted, in Classroom. This is, by the way, where I put the graph with the different slope time. You'll see in the top right, I'm sorry. There's 20 algebraic expressions. You need to tell me, is it true or false? And if it's false, figure out what we got to do to make it true. You can use your words. The answers will be posted, but please understand, you very well may have something like this on an assessment next time we meet. Take a look at number 1. Do we want to say that's true or false? Look at question 1. Is that true or false? Boy, you guys fall for it. No way. 1 is false. The square root of 25 is going to be just 5. Hang on. Back and see. Yep. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. You have one here? Counseling office. Okay? One last thing I'm going to do for you. Did you guys sign up for Remind yet? Yeah. What I'm going to do to you is this. I'm going to send out a message. What I need you guys to do, actually, never mind. You've got enough. This sheet here, the Believe It or Not one, your rules over and your sign up for your Math Excel are your homework. So there's 3 things. The rule sheet, you've got the answers to already. It's shared with you through Classroom. Thank you so much. I'm sorry we ran late. We're talking too much about making money. Have a good day. We'll see you soon. All right, so, hang on. Tommy, can you hear me? Okay, so now that works. I'm going to send you in an email those worksheets from today, okay? Hang on one second. Hang on, Tommy. Let me get these guys first. Yes.
Can you stay close for me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. See, now you're going to have so much space. I just didn't want you to get boxed out. And some people write bigger than others.
I write really big, so.
Good. And you got a ton of room. All right, let's see. How do I, so this is mute. How do I make this full screen? Unpin. No. Pin video. No. What am I doing wrong? What an idiot I am. Shrink this down. I'm not seeing. Is there more of this stupid thing? Go to meeting. Oh. View. Hide self view. Mute my audio. Oh, here. Main screen. Share. No. Share. How do you do? Oh. I don't want to share this though. How do I actually just see? Frick. Makes video. Integrated webcam. So is this gonna work? Oh. Oh, you guys have study on here. Hang on. Tommy, did that all come through all right? Okay, did you see the right screen all class? Okay, I'm going to send you out I'll send you out actually 2 worksheets though. But was today adequate or did I screw up more? What stuff was bad? Okay, and that comes through all right? Okay, all right. Thank you very much, bud. I'm going to close this down then, all right? I'll send you an email with those 2 files. Thank you. So stop share. Boom. Leave meeting. Okay. You guys are here for study hall, right? All right, so hang on one second because we got seats for you. Just so you know, that's how we go through and take attendance when we're in here. You'll see in a second, the top is the front of the room. Excuse me, the bottom is the back. You guys are 3D, right? Yeah. So it looks like this right here is your group. We can't send anybody out just yet. Those ones with X's should be empty. The front is at the top. Just understand, Miss Strege is going to be coming in to go over library. I can't send anybody to the library until next week. Yes. Oh, so you're not going to be up there then? Okay, so do me a favor, honey. What is your name? Hang on, let me just get this here. And darker, a little bit bigger. 22. All right, what's your name?
Haley Rice.
Rice?
Yes.
R-I-C-E?
Yes.
And is it H-A-I-L-E-Y?
Yes.
See, not bad. So what we're gonna have you do, honey, let's have you sit, please, in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seat in the first row there. I think there's yeah, you can just slide that box on the desk behind you. We can't send anybody to the library today, just so you know. We can send people starting on Monday, and Miss Strege will be coming in to go through and go over all of that stuff with you. By and large, if you got something with you to work on, great. Otherwise, you can go through and stare at the wall. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you've got something to do. 2, 3, 4, 5, 2.
Can I use the bathroom, please?
Yeah, there's a pass right there. Just make sure to take that, please. Mm-hmm. So guys, make sure, please, you find your seat. That's how we'll go through and take attendance. The other thing is, I'll let you know, for libraries, I don't keep track or anything. It's just the first 6 who come are able to go. There's passes over here. When you come in, there'll be one maybe out on here, and if there's not, first person can snag one and list it out. First 6 get to go. If you have an absolute need, like life or death, and it's for a class, just to guarantee, if you're a little bit later coming over, you're on the other side, you want to make sure you can go, get a pass from the person. Like if you have it like for an English paper, get one from your English teacher. That guarantees you'll be able to go. All right? Really what? Yeah. Why?
Why just use up there on class?
Yeah, he
He's putting some cool over
oh, no, I know. Yeah. No, that's probably someone from the area. I don't know who from now. He's at Dartmouth, and they have a different schedule. Dartmouth goes trimesters.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, the breaks are much shorter, but the middle one is longer.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, because you had the D-shirt on, and I said, I couldn't see what was on the back, and I wanted to get I never had a class.
No, he sent me a text the other day. Oh, yeah. He,
for fun. Yeah,
Because he sent me a text the other day. Yeah. Let's look out your window.
You know, I thought, because there was definitely someone out there the other day too. And they went out there. They were playing.
It would be, against some of the, just the ivy, much less the Big Ten. Well, and the other thing, if you're a hyper-involved tiger parent, whatever you want to call it, and you've got a daughter, a smart one, if you like scholarships for the and tennis, throws, lacrosse, field hockey, golf, and soccer. But soccer is getting more competitive, and they can't do anything. We don't want to play very well.
Well, it's so funny because I thought we might have how they were doing things. We
that's probably why you picked up some of my food. Oh. Oh, you know who it probably is? Was she older though? She had 2 minutes 14.
She's an odd
Yeah, it's Christina Bachman. She's a Webster person. She coaches somewhere now. And maybe she works at North Bear. Like it's one of the teachers.
Everybody, can I get your attention for 2 minutes? How many people have not seen me in a study hall yet this week? Lying. How many people have not seen me in a study hall this week? Everybody seen me already? Okay, so we'll do the quiz show version then. We'll do. You don't even have to because they've seen me, all of them. They said, which is happening. So I've seen some people today, classes today where no one saw me and somewhere everyone saw me. Okay, so which 2 new spaces in the library are there for you for quiet work? The glass box.
Where are you?
And the inside.
Are you in here?
And
Oh yeah, you are. I didn't even notice. Thank you.
You walk to the library and it's a
So
lunch
you're
box
right
study
behind
hall.
it. Looks like that girl, the second girl. And
That too.
third one and second one. Thank you.
But how do you get a pass during a lunch block study hall? Because if you're in a lunch block study hall, there's not going to be a teacher there saying, I've got 6 spots, who wants to go? How do you get to the library if you really need to? All right, so for that one, you're going to need to go to a teacher and get a pre-signed pass saying that you have a designated need to be
Yep.
there. A
Benson?
little white pass. And be
Yeah.
able to
Second
get down,
one.
but yeah,
Sorry, second row, first seat.
asking you not to bring the lunches into the cafeteria. All right, you're home free, and I'm out of your hair. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week in the library.
Thank you.
Have a good one, Mr. Mayor.
See you later.
So guys, when you come in, like we said, we'll have one sitting over here. If not, grab one. First 6 to sign, get to go. If you do have a dedicated need, I check with the people in your, make sure I check with the teacher that's telling you to go there. Make sure that they're the ones to give you a pass if you guarantee you need to go. And that when you're here, make sure please that you've got something quiet to work on. You've got to go through and use the bathroom. We got one pass up there. So if you're the person that's out, don't be meandering around because people are probably waiting for you to come back. But I think that's it.